Well, apparently Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, confirmed that Trump called American service members suckers and losers and refused to visit their graves. I'm going to go ahead and take things that never happened for 500. On top of that, you have Elon Musk's new XTV app came out. And, people are whining about it. It's in beta right now. Then I found in researching the XTV app, I came across another article about X that I thought would be interesting to dissect. And then furthermore, I have been doing some research on can we trust the media? And what do we do at this point if one half of us trust the media and one half of us don't? Is there any way we can come together? So this is Join or Die. I'm Dr. Jesse Roberts. It is September 3rd, 2024. And I'm here to shoot the crap with you. So just recently, I think within just the last few hours, let me see what time this tweet came up. Yeah, come on, don't do this to me. Excuse me, let me hit refresh here so I can pull this up, otherwise it's not gonna work. There we go. Okay. So yeesh, let me straighten that out for you. All right, so apparently within the last, I don't know, what is this, 10 hours ago, there's this here where it's from the Kamala HQ, it says, which is her propaganda account. And it says here that Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, confirms that Trump called American service members suckers and losers and refused to visit their graves. That he don't want to be seen with amputee veterans because it doesn't look good for me. Like, okay, first of all, I've never bought this narrative once, but I don't ever buy narratives about anybody for that matter. I just don't believe the media in any way, shape, or form. I am immediately skeptical of anything that comes out of our mainstream media, or I don't even call them mainstream media, our corporate media crap, the complete trash and drivel that comes out of that. So, fix my color here. So you have this, the story originally came out, it was years ago when Trump was president. It allegedly came out, I think it was The Atlantic that wrote the article claiming that he called dead Americans killed in war suckers and losers. And Biden has gone up there when he does this old man anger rant thing, Trump called them suckers and losers. He freaks out about this thing, which the minute I heard that, I said, this is complete and utter bullcrap. But I think that way about most things the media says, because, I've basically from day one, everything I ever heard about Trump from the media, I thought, well, this is complete and utter crap. And I'm not like some like mega slappy. I'm just seriously, I'm libertarian, and to the point of I don't trust the government in any way, shape, or form, and I do not trust the media at all. Like, no way. So this story, the minute I heard it, I said, oh, this is BS. Just like everything everything I've really heard about him ever, the minute I heard it, I said, this is blatantly a lie. Not they're mistaken. This is just a flat out propaganda hit piece type of thing. They did that with the Russia collusion thing. They did that with the quid pro quo thing. They did it with every statement of him being a racist and being a rapist or what, all this stuff. And like him being a dictator, him wanting to overthrow the country, all this stuff. It's so absurd that you cannot possibly believe it, but so many people do. In fact, that's part of what I wanted to talk about tonight. Was I was doing some in-depth research on how many people actually trust the media, and what does that demographic of people look like? Well, you're not going to be shocked here when I tell you that the majority of people that trust the media vote for one side of the aisle, and that would be the blue side. And then the people that grossly mistrust the media tend to go red. And independents don't really go either way. They just tend to stay back. And it's not surprising, but if you see the data, it's interesting about it is when your president is in office. Let's say you're a Republican. There's a Republican in office. Media trust tends to go up. And then, like, let's say there's a Republican in office, then the Democrats' trust goes down. When the Democrats get their guy in, like when Obama's in, Democrat trust goes up, Republican trust goes down. But 2016 or 2015 was the first time it flipped, where a Republican becomes president and the media trust plummets for the Republicans and it skyrockets for the Democrats. So it's just because of all the lies, but it's fascinating that they're trying to instill in you this fear about the guy. What all they're doing is just alienating the people that they're trying to reach out to, because everybody can call their BS off the bat, and they've actually destroyed corporate media by doing this. No, it's like less than 30% of Americans trust corporate media now. So this suckers and losers story falls under that purview, and there's no way you can convince me that this story is true. So let me show you what happened here. This is from, oh man, it's a Jake Tapper, I believe. This is 1 minute and 19 seconds, this clip. But here, let me just make sure that I have the sound on for you before I start this.
The first time ever, Kelly sets the record straight.
Okay, so I'll start it over just to make sure. Actually, hold on, sorry. I'm so
on the record confirmation
paranoid.
Of a number of damning details about Donald
Here
Trump
we go.
From background. The first time ever, Kelly sets the record straight with on-the-record confirmation
on the record
damning details about Donald Trump from background sources, including from a 2020 Atlantic story reported with unnamed sources by editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg, including the stunning detail that Trump turned to Kelly on Memorial Day at Arlington National Cemetery in 2017 and asked, "I don't get it. What was in it for them?" This is Kelly confirming on the record stories of Trump insulting Senator John McCain and former President George H.W. Bush because in Vietnam and in World War II, respectively, the former aviators were shot down.
Oh,
Kelly
yeah.
describes Trump as, quote, a person that thinks those who defend their country in uniform or are shot down or seriously wounded in combat or spend years being tortured as POWs are all, quote, suckers because, quote, there is nothing in it for them.
Ooh.
A person that did not want to be seen in the presence of military amputees because, quote, it doesn't look good for me. A person that demonstrated open contempt for a Gold Star family, for all Gold Star families on TV
did he?
During the 2016 campaign.
So let's just see what happened. The other day, I was talking about where was Trump when the anniversary of our withdrawal from Afghanistan happened. Oh, he was with Gold Star families. Who wasn't there? Biden and Kamala Harris. And when they brought those bodies back home from the withdrawal in Afghanistan, what did Biden do? He sat there and he checked his watch every 10 seconds. And then he would go up to the families and talk about how his son died of cancer because of exposure to elements in Iraq. So, like, this premise, there's just no way you could convince me that the story is true. It's impossible. It's so absurd. It just sounds like something that they would make up. And I'm sure, this guy doesn't have an axe to grind. Let's see here. Let's see. This was a thing I saw earlier. This was actually right after it. I'm not familiar with this account, but this was just in response to that. And it says here, this is from John Kelly speaking, I believe. I'll admit to having never looked into the claim that John Kelly confirmed Trump's suckers and losers quote. I figured Kelly had said he said it. Apparently he didn't, and Jake Tapper just made up that framing out of the whole cloth. Kelly never said, I heard him say that. What can I add that has not already been said? Kelly said, when asked if he wanted to weigh in on his former boss in light of recent comments made by former Trump officials. A person that thinks those who defend their country in uniform are shot down or seriously wounded in combat or spend years being tortured as POWs are all suckers because there's nothing in it for them. A person that did not want to be seen in the presence of military amputees because it doesn't look good for me. A person who demonstrated open contempt for a Gold Star. Okay, so we just saw that, right? Now, this here says, Kelly set the record straight with on-the-record confirmation of a number of damning stories about statements Trump made behind closed doors attacking U.S. service members and veterans, listing a number of objectionable comments Kelly witnessed Trump make firsthand. So, I guess I don't understand. So allegedly, according to this account, this never happened. I guess I wish I had more information for you. Sorry. I saw this and I thought, oh, maybe this person had something here for me. They write for redstate.com. Let's see. There's nothing really here. Dang, I'm sorry. I wish I had more for you. All I know is, of course, these, you know, you're going to get these people that are going to go, oh, he said it. No matter what, he said it. They want to believe everything that they ever said about Trump. And when I'm doing my research on media trust earlier, I tried to go through all the stories that were brought up about Trump, and so many of them that are still, they're continually being used today. They're being perpetuated by the media that have been blatantly, they've been debunked. They've been seen as blatantly false, just shit, flat out lies, are still being parroted. Where Biden, you know, there's pages and pages of constant lies the guy has told, never been called by the media for it. The whole Kamala Harris campaign has been nothing but lies. This whole ordeal is not about Trump, Kamala Harris to me. It's about you. The media is a joke. You cannot trust them in any way, shape, or form. They are so obsessed with Donald Trump. They will do whatever it takes to. And it's crazy because their value went up. You know, when Trump was president, that was one of the better times for being a corporate press member, because they had all of this coverage of him going around the clock. And if you look at what most news outlets cover now, it's just Trump, 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 right? And they've created this like extremely radicalized group of people that watch their news network because they're seething. They want the dopamine hit of Trump being an a-hole. Like they want that. It's, you were like, sometimes, I mean, come on, we're all human. We sit there, you talk crap about somebody and it just feels good, right? It gives you that constant, like, it gives you dopamine hit. It's like humans love to do that. That's what this is. They're looking for that rush of that dopamine hit. What is the next thing Trump's going to do? What's the next thing? You hear this story and it's like, it's so preposterous. Why would somebody who's running for president say that he doesn't want to be seen next to amputated or amputee war veterans? Why would you say that? It doesn't look good. Yeah, it looks it's politically unsound to take your picture next to injured war veterans. I'm sorry, nobody with a brain would think that. They want this guy to be demonic. They want him to be the world's biggest piece of crap that's ever lived. And it's just unreal to me that they're doing this now. Mind you, okay, so what's going on today? So this is an actual something newsworthy, because of course this is going to be what it's about. Let's see here. Where did my tab go? So, you know, you have actual newsworthy things happening today, like this came about 50 minutes ago. I posted on Josh Hawley's page. This is just, I don't know exactly what time this report came out, period, but here you go. This should be newsworthy, shouldn't it?
Senator Josh Hawley's been in contact with whistleblowers and has new information he's going to exclusively share with us here at Primetime. So what now are we hearing from whistleblowers, Senator?
Well, what I've heard tonight, Jesse, is that most of the agents who were there at that rally in Butler were not Secret Service agents. They were, in fact, Homeland Security agents. And get this, most of those Homeland Security agents, the only training that they received was an online webinar, a 2-hour online webinar. And I'm told that about half the time, the sound to the webinar didn't even work. So think about this. The President of the United States, former President of the United States, Donald Trump, is sent out on stage. Most of the people there aren't trained. They're not qualified. They only got a webinar training, and even that didn't work. It is absolutely outrageous.
Senator Josh Hawley's been in contact.
So let's see. I would like to know when is this going to get media coverage? Oh, it's not going to, is it? Because who cares? This doesn't matter. They have an election to win. They can't give Trump anything that's going to make people sympathetic to him or question whether or not the government was implicit in this whole thing. They can't do that. That's where you're at right now, is that you remember after it happened, it was this tragedy. Everybody was up on Twitter saying things like, oh, my heart goes out to him. People that were calling him, you know, the greatest threat to democracy and basically like the second coming of German dictator guy. And then you have this, like two days later, they're back to calling him the same things again. I'm not even kidding. Gretchen Whitmer had posted something where she was like, my thoughts are with Trump or whatever, and you know, with former President Trump, and you know, political violence is never condoned. She deleted it, dude. She deleted the tweet. They didn't want this. They hate him so much, and they know that every aspect of the way they do their campaign has to focus on painting him in a negative light. That's their only way they're going to potentially pull this thing off. Take Kamala Harris's interview, her pre-taped 18-minute interview last week. Every story morphed into attacking Donald Trump. That's the only thing they have. And so they can't focus on, oh, Trump was the victim of political violence, and we possibly had something to do with that with our vicious vitriol. But you're not going, and so at first you say, this is, wow, this happened. Like, this happened. Politics is just like, we take it way too seriously. We had an adult human moment here. And then, oh no, we have to win. We have to win. There's so much at stake here. Like democracy and abortions. That's what matters, guys. That's what matters. So yeah, interestingly enough, this is what they're going to go with. This is what's important to them. The media should be spending every waking second trying to solve this mystery. Did you not hear what he just said? Did you not hear what Josh Hawley just said? He said that they took a webinar that barely worked.
Senator Josh Hawley's been in contact with whistleblowers and has new information he's going to exclusively share with us here at Primetime. So what now are we hearing from whistleblowers, Senator?
Well, what I've heard tonight, Jesse, is that most of the agents who were there at that rally in Butler were not Secret Service agents.
Not Secret Service.
They were, in fact, Homeland Security agents.
Oh.
And get this, most of those Homeland Security agents, the only training that they received was an online webinar, a 2-hour online.
So there you have it. Who is it that runs DHS? Is it Mayorkas? That guy that smug jerk-off who literally hates your guts, especially hates Trump's guts. He had DHS agents there that watched a 2-hour webinar on how to protect a presidential candidate in a situation like this, or what to do. What should be happening right now is the press should be ripping this thing apart. They would actually gain a tiny little modicum of credibility in my book if they would do this. I'm opening my window, excuse me. Like, it's a beautiful, like fall-ish night here in Michigan, even though it's not fall. It was like a 60, or it's like a 70-degree day. Right now it's going to get in the 50s. I'm ready for it, okay? I'm ready for the colder weather. Football, hunting, colder weather. Yeah, let's get after it. Winter, though, that can go away. So you have this department run by a guy who hates Trump's guts, who is actively like trying to fight being investigated, and the media is not touching this story because they don't care about anything other than getting Trump away from everything. And do they really think it's because he's an existential threat? He is an existential threat to their industry, because his whole thing is blown the doors wide open and showing everybody what a complete crap show that corporate media is, and how it's all just full of BS. They'll cover for him, though. They'll cover for for this incident with the DHS by not talking about it. They're not going to discuss this. They're not going to investigate it. People probably in our government aren't going to investigate it. This will just get blown over. I'm sure most people out there like that are diehard lefties just don't even care. They're probably disappointed in the outcome, and they probably have forgotten that it happened for some. They're so focused on one thing. Their hatred of this person drives them. So this is kind of a thought I was having in the car, dropping kids off at school. I'm driving back, and I'm thinking to myself, why? So I read a tweet yesterday, in a video, and it was basically like a checklist of every Trump lie was being parroted by this person who was saying he's going to end women's rights, and he's going to turn us into a white Christian country, and he's going to, let Putin conquer Europe, and it was a list of everything that people say about Trump from a propaganda standpoint, like TDS level stuff. So I'm like, what would make somebody think that? I mean, do they really believe it? Because then maybe they're not watching mainstream or corporate media to begin with, but those corporate media they light the fuse, right? They light the fuse going the direction they want it to go. Whether or not they are the authority in the story or anything like that, what they are is they're the ones that ignite the conversation, right? And what ends up happening is most people in independent media do damage control trying to debunk stories the media puts out. You could probably make a full-time job out of just doing that. I mean, I do that all the time here. Like, you read stories, talk about how it's crap, show your proof, what have you. So they have the power to set the fuse off in the direction they want it to go. And in that light, how is it that someone would believe all this insane stuff that comes from the media? And it's like, well, there's plenty of people out there that just don't think that the media would lie to them. They don't think they're being lied to. They think they're getting factual evidence. They don't see why the media would lie to them. They don't see that they have an actual agenda. This happens a lot with older people that will sit there and they'll watch TV all day, watching the news, and they will believe what they're hearing because they're thinking, well, why would there be any other reason for them to tell me differently? I know people that this happened for during like COVID, who became completely deranged over that period because there was so much fear mongering and they were so obsessed. They sat in front of their TV all day just watching the news, just waiting for the next thing. And that was a nice way for them to mainline a bunch of other crap into the storyline, not just about the pandemic, but about political stuff, etc. And those same people now that were probably like pretty centrist, moderates, maybe just independents, not even that interested at all, maybe Democrats to like a slight degree, they believed so much stuff that before, if I would have asked them, like I just never would have expected that it would end up that way. Including like they now believe that like the economy is good, that Biden's economy is good. They believe that, they believe all the crap about Trump. They believe it's because they sat there just eating this stuff up for days. And maybe they didn't watch the news that much before, but now that they're home all day and they're terrified and the media is their only source of knowing what's going on out there, they sit there and they eat it up and they watch it all day long. Assuming, listen, they don't realize not only is the media wrong, they're not wrong because of an accident. They're wrong 100% on purpose. They're blatantly lying to you. And if you're lying to you, it's for one purpose only, and that is to push you off in a certain direction. So I'm thinking that's the only way somebody could really buy into all this stuff, is they have to trust it, or they want to trust, they want it to be true. It's confirmation bias. But for a lot of these people, they're not just making up, like most of these people that walk around with TDS in their day, they didn't just make up the stuff about Trump that they believe about him. They heard it from somewhere, and then that confirmed that's why they should hate him. And it comes from the media. So this is where I came down this road. It was interesting earlier, kind of went down a rabbit hole. This is an article I'll show you after. But let's see here. So this is from 2014. Is this the right one? Oh, sorry, this is the wrong one. Okay, okay, so 2013 is like during the Obama administration. It's just talking about the revenue. Give me a break. It's the wrong thing. Okay, so America's trust in media. This is from 2022. It was at a record low. So 34% had a great deal or fair amount in media, fair amount of confidence media. 38% with no trust at all. 70% of Democrats trust the media. This is 2022, so it's a couple years later. And then 14% of Republicans trust it. 27% of independents trust it. So overall, at 34%, Americans trust in the mass media to report the news fully, accurately, and fairly is essentially unchanged from last year, just 2 points higher than the lowest that Gallup has recorded in 2016 during the presidential campaign. Go figure. So just 7% of Americans have a great deal of trust in the media. 27% have a fair amount. Meanwhile, 28% of U.S. adults say they do not have very much confidence. 38% have none at all in newspapers, TV, and radio. That's about where I fall. So I wanted you to look at this graph. Okay, so what's interesting about this graph is if you look at the trends. So, excuse me. Around Watergate, Vietnam War, etc. You have, where's the legend for this thing? Okay, this isn't doing any good. Oh, here we go. Okay, so people that have a great deal or fair amount of trust in mass media, by 1976, it's at 72%. Okay, so then you got here, you got what? You got Reagan, and it starts to go down a little bit, and then you got the Clinton years, and then you go here, and then you got Bush, and then after 9/11, trust goes up, and then what happens in 2003? Oh, we invade Iraq, right? Weapons of mass destruction. So this goes down, and then continues to go down under Bush, and then Obama gets elected, it bumps up a little bit, and then we hit an all-time high here again, or not all-time high, but a high in this bump here. So low in 2016 when Trump's running, and then it bumps back up to 45% in 2018. And now, this is in 2022, of course, we're at 38%. Now, none at all. I mean, it's been a steady rise in that same time period. And then the same goes with not very much at all. Now, this is the political divide when it comes to the trust in media. And this is from 1972 to 2022. So we're in Vietnam. We pull out of Vietnam. And then, so when you have this here, this is when Nixon is president. Okay, so Nixon is president, and you have Watergate, and the Democrats, they kind of stay steady. They go from look at maybe like a 10% drop over this time period here. This is a pretty good time period from 1976 to 1997. So what, 20 years. Republicans, after Watergate, their thing drops. So you end up getting you get Ford in office, and then after that, this continues to decline. Now, what's interesting is as Clinton is in office, you see Democrats still stay higher versus, like 52% of Republicans in 1998 next to 59%. So it's about there. And then when Bush gets elected, you see a pretty big drop here from 65 to 59%. But the Republicans goes the opposite way. It goes up and then drops exponentially here. And then you have Obama, and then the Republicans continues to go down. And then in 2016, you have this massive drop. 14%. It went from 32 to 14 in 2015. Now look at what happens with the Democrats. So you're talking in 1972, 74% of Democrats trust the media. 2016, it goes from 51% to 72. 74, 72. Then it hits an all-time high in 2018. What's going on then? Oh, maybe the Trump-Russia collusion thing. What about his impeachment trials and onward? Then you got COVID, and it stays steadily in the 70% range. Independence kind of continues to go down. So look at that difference. Mind you, this here is when a Republican is in office. So historically, like when Obama's in office, hovers around the same-ish. But at that same time, it tends to continue to drop for the Republicans. And then here, bam, bam. So Republicans overall have just lost basically all credibility. The media's lost all credibility to Republicans, pretty much. So as far as trust in mass media by subgroup, you have, so my age range here, 35 to 54%, it's 6% for Republicans, 71% for Democrats, 79% 55 and older Democrats, 14% for Republicans. You would think it'd be higher than that. But what's interesting here is it's pretty even keel for both sides when it comes to not college grad or college graduate. It's just based on political ideology, totally. When you look at this, it really makes you kind of understand why so many people believe in the stuff they do. How do you convince somebody something's not true that they believe is true? It's impossible. It's one of the most impossible things you can do. Like, try, if you're a Christian, try convincing an atheist that God is real, or that Christ died and was resurrected. Try convincing them of that. You'll never do it. Try convincing any Democrat that any of this Trump stuff was a lie. They won't be able to handle it. They just won't. They'll refuse. Well, imagine if you're a Republican and they do the same. They try to convince you that the Trump stuff is the truth. You won't believe it. Why won't you believe it? Well, I think for me personally, I won't believe it is because I can fact check. I am willing to look at differing sources. In media, the Democrats overwhelmingly have the majority of the ideological capture of media. I mean, you can't even deny it. There was another thing I was reading earlier. I wish I could find it now. I might have bookmarked it on my other computer. But there was, let's see. Trust in government. It was one of these Pew Research things. Of course, I can't find it. There was a list of each publication and whether people trust certain publication or not. And there's a dot, and it's like the majority of them are Democrats trust, except for like smaller independent news networks or Fox News. So when not just CNN, but MSNBC and ABC and wherever else you watch news, I don't even know what other news networks are out there, but when they're all saying the same thing, it's probably easier to buy in if you're not you're not good at doing the independent thinking thing. You don't really know how to fact check. You don't really care to fact check. They're telling you what you want to hear. Well, not all these news networks can just be wrong, can they? They can't all just be lying to me. And I think that's also part of the bias, is that you have so many sources and they're all in lockstep. I mean, you've seen this. The messaging on the left is phenomenal. They're so good at getting everybody to jump on board at the same time and move along in lockstep together. They've done that since I can remember. Certainly since Trump became a thing. And as they march along, you saw this with like the Kamala Harris stuff. First of all, Biden's great. Biden's fine. He sharpens attack. Biden's not. Biden's good. Biden's not. Biden's good. He should stay in. He shouldn't. Then finally, they oust Biden. Mind you, Biden got all the votes for the majority of the votes for the Democratic candidacy for president. So you have that. Biden decides to step down. Kamala Harris becomes the nominee. First off, people are like, who the heck is Kamala Harris? People are upset about the pick. And then the next thing you know, everybody in media makes her a phenomenon. They're reporting about how amazing she is. They're all aboard. Well, if you're a leftist and you feel like you can trust your media, you're going to look at that and go, well, why would every single news outlet say this if it wasn't true? I know it's a stupid way of thinking, but that's probably part of it. But it certainly seems like the trust, since the trust has risen for the Democrats in media because of Trump, because of the stuff they report about him, that has made them credible to at least one group of people in this country. Because you saw that graph. For both sides, it's a steady decline. How can we reclaim our credibility? I know. We'll just obsess about this one guy. We'll be the experts. We'll be the experts on how to deal with this threat to our country. Yeah, let's do that. And it's like, go through the lies. Everything. Go sit there and do your own research and look at all the stuff they've lied about. And how do they have any credibility with any group of people in this country is beyond me. But that's how somebody like that person I was talking about, who talks about the same stuff. Lies, 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 lies. They, not even lies, delusions, okay? They believe that stuff because there's no way the media would lie to them. I saw that with, like, during the impeachment stuff, all this idea that Trump was working with Putin and all this stuff. There were people I knew that were reputable people with pretty, that with the highest level of education. They have doctorates and they are intelligent people that believed everything they were hearing from the trial. And me, I live in this world 24/7. I'm obsessed with it. I want to hear every side of every story. Excuse me. I want to do my own research. I want to hear what both sides have to say. I'm skeptical of both sides always. I usually think they're both BS. And so I just assume the media is lying to me. So I want to check it out. Most people like that, they don't assume that. So they're just like, yeah, whatever. They're telling me the truth. This guy's the devil. And what are they going to do if Trump, let's say Trump doesn't get reelected in a couple months or just a few months away. And, we're going to go back to what we used to be. Because Trump's not going to run again if he doesn't get elected. I mean, he'll be way too old to run. He's too old to run now. So what's going to happen to these outlets? What are they going to talk about? Well, they've blown all their credibility. They're never going to win the Republican base back, ever. That's done. Those days are over. And you have to wonder, like, what's the way forward going to be like? How do we ever bring a group of people that outright rejects all this stuff about this guy being the worst person that's ever lived, together with people that believe this guy is the second coming of a German dictator from the past. How do you bring those groups together? You can't, because what happens now is, if you're a Trump supporter, in your family, so you get family and friends who are they're staunch Democrats, they become so because Trump has pushed them further that way, and they see you put a Trump thing in your yard, or they see you supporting Trump on social media, or you just show up and say, listen, I'm supporting the guy, and they freak out because what do they say? How could you support somebody who is trying to destroy our country, who is trying to, he wants to be a dictator, he wants to end all of our freedom, he wants to, how could you support somebody like that? Like, that's what they think. That's why they will hear you. You could be out there picking up trash on the freeway, taking in orphans, giving them an amazing life. You could be winning the lottery and giving all your money away, and they will hear you're a Trump supporter and they will go, you're a bad person. Because they assume your values align with somebody that is that heinous of a human being. How do we repair that? It's impossible. They have eternally divided us in this country. It's really tragic. And they've done it all for money. They've done it all to reclaim the market that they work in. That's why they've done it all. They've lied because it's been good for their ratings. And it's been so destructive for the country. They don't care. And then the politicians go up and they just parrot the same talking points. So, however, how will we ever fix this? If you have a solution to how we can fix this, I'm all ears. Do media outlets are they going to go hit the reset button and start fresh? People are going to believe them? That'll never happen. This is a funny thing. So I wanted to show you this. Oops. This was from, please tell me I have it. Oh, well, here's my other links. Duh. Here we go. I feel like an idiot now. Please forgive me. They were just lost. I have an ongoing Google Doc, and I hid them behind a headline that was in big print. Let's see here. Is this the one? Yep. Okay, so now check this out. First of all, I'll show you what I was going to talk about next, but trust in media in 2024, which news sources Americans trust, which they think lean left or right. So this is from YouGov. So look at this. Weather Channel has the highest trust. Okay, this is just overall. Now look at this graph compared to political ideology. Look at that. Even Democrats trust the Weather Channel more. They're just obviously they're going to be more inclined to trust media. NPR, look at the Republican side. It's like negative in everything but Fox News, Breitbart, OAN, Financial Times, The Economist, Business, and like some of these, Wall Street Journal and Forbes. It's a very small number. But it's pretty fascinating. If you want to go do your own research, you can look this out. Look this up. Sorry, I misspeak a lot. I'm mildly dyslexic, so this happens. All right, so this was funny earlier. So check this out. I was doing research on media bias and media trust, and here we go. Now this is an article about. This is from the Arizona Mirror, I guess. And it says, we're ditching junk food election coverage to focus on what's at stake when we vote. So what they're trying to do here is we're going to be more serious this election. We're going to try to be actual news outlets and not just propagate BS. Okay? That's what we're going to do. We're changing this. We're going to go back to trying to make people trust us. So what do? What do you think happens? You can predict the future here, can't you? So the stakes could not be higher in 2024. Our job as journalists is to explain exactly what the impacts of a particular election outcome might be and give Arizonans the information they need to be educated and engaged as voters. So they're talking about like, oh yeah, you know, past news about the elections was just like junk food, junk stories, polls, things like that. But what's really at stake in 2024? Well, there's a Trump presidency at stake. And the Republicans, they know exactly what they want to do to our nation. They want to help the twice impeached, 4 times indicted business fraud and rapist once again capture the White House. At stake are our civil rights, our freedom of speech, our treatment of immigrants, and America's course as a secular nation. Like, yep, that's what it is. America's course is a secular nation because there's ever been anything said by Trump to go after any of that. They're going to start doing hard-hitting news. They're going to start doing real news with groundbreaking news stories and top-notch journalists. And they're going to start by cutting junk media because we all know Trump's going to destroy they can't help themselves. They've completely ruined their own any semblance of credibility they have. It's gone out the window. That is so. It's just classic. I laughed. My wife sitting here studying. She's a medical student sitting behind me. And I laughed out loud reading it. She's like, what? I was like, it's just this article. It's saying they're going to quit, basically quit trying to rile people up about the election because what's at stake is Trump. It's just it's preposterous, man. The media has ruined their own industry. And it's a good thing. All right, so I want to move on to a couple of stories here. They're just going to be probably brief stories. What happened to my... Okay, so this was funny, first of all. So Elon Musk, his X released the X TV app. I think it was today. Let me just fact check this. It's like in beta, okay? So 3 hours ago, it's like yesterday the news comes out, okay? You can get the X app. It's basically just for your smart TV. It's just another way to consume video. I spend a lot of time on X, like most people do that do this kind of stuff. X is good for news. It's good for kind of like seeing what both sides are saying. It's also good for people that want to be toxic, but it's good for links. It's good for news stories. It's good for maybe video clips, but it's not a video app, and it's a really terrible platform for video right now. If you pay for the premium version, you get tools and stuff. I don't ever post my videos on there. I just think like I'm pretty small time. It just seems kind of pointless right now. Maybe someday if I become popular, but I mean, I'm real small time. I mean, I started doing this like a month and a half ago. So, they need to fix it. They need to have a designated video tab. They need to make it a streaming type of interface comparable to like YouTube or somebody else if they're going to handle this. And short needs to be able to do short video, long form video. So the XTV app came out, and this guy or this person, I guess I don't know if it's a guy or this whiny person, Danny Gallagher, says the XTV is out now. And yes, it really sucks because everybody hates X now because Elon Musk is just evil because he doesn't want to censor people, and it's a real problem for the left. They liked Twitter better when they were the only ones allowed to say anything, and and they liked it better when conservative content got shadow banned and downranked and blocked. They liked it better when bots attacked the right. I mean, it was more fun for them back then. That's the next article, but I keep doing this. These are my links. Okay, so X TV may still be in beta, but it's years behind rival streaming apps. Well, no crap. X has entered the streaming wars, sort of. Owner Elon Musk announced that the XTV app, teased earlier this year, is available now for some Amazon Fire TVs, Google TVs, and LG panels. If your TV doesn't fit into one of these categories, don't fret, you're not missing anything. The short teaser video included in the beta app announcement shows what appears to be the Google version of the app with a typical looking streaming video interface. There are rows of links to videos for the very small number of original shows on the platform, like right-wing dog whistler Tucker Carlson, and accounts for SpaceX and Tesla. However, the actual app, or at least the version for Amazon Fire TVs, looks nothing like the video and offers even less in terms of content. So currently, the XTV app is just a video delivery system for the X app. You'll need an X account to log in, which you do for most streaming services, and it just sends you a curated list of X videos that are already on the platform. Well, what else would it do? What appear to be the default recommendations are truly hideous to anyone not of the same political mind as Musk. So this guy's just some leftist who probably wants to flame out at anything that differs from his viewpoint. He probably misses Twitter back when it was just a liberal crap hole. I used a burner account that wasn't following many users in the videos the XTV app offered me on the first viewing includes a Megyn Kelly video accusing Tim Walz of committing stolen valor, a report from right-wing social media influencer Andy Ngo, and Carlson's fawning interview with historian Daryl Cooper, who performed some revisionist history by calling Winston Churchill the chief villain of the Second World War. XTV's video library is reflective of its users. After years of skewing liberal, its most active user base is now conservative. Fans ready for whatever red meat X dangles over them. The videos on show may entertain those users, and Musk's fan club may fawn over finally having a streaming app on smart TVs, but even if you're in that demo, it's a disappointingly bare bones app compared to rivals like Rumble. It's in beta. And X is not a video streaming thing at all. It's actually a terrible place to do that. I see people all the time will live stream on X, and it just seems like if you don't watch the live stream, there's no real way to like go back and find it. It's not an easy thing. They should have like a tab where you have your tweets, for your posts on one page, and you can hit the tab, you can swipe over and see, a nice list of video content they put out. You don't have that. It's just chaotic. And I'm sure they're working on it. But this is such a typical lefty thing. Like, back when it was cool, when there wasn't conservatives on there, all that they want, the user base on Twitter is just, or on X is just, they just align with Elon Musk's political beliefs, and it's all conservatives now. Well, the algorithm works like, if you want to see conservatives, comment on conservative stuff. If you want to see liberals, if you want to get your feed blown up by the crappiest people imaginable, like if you want like Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Gavin Newsom, and all these people to show up in your feed, comment on them. Comment on their posts. Because I will guarantee you'll be seeing a lot of their posts. That's how the algorithm works. I don't think a whole lot of people have left X. There's plenty of people that stuck around to bitch. And that's where I want to get to my next thing here. But this is in the beta testing phase. It doesn't compare to like what, YouTube and Rumble? I mean, they are light years ahead in this department. They're designated to do video. I'm sure that with all the financial resources they have and the intellectual power they have, they will figure it out eventually. Right-wing dog whistler Tucker Carlson. He's such a dog whistler. Oh, it's just so funny how much the right just... It's such an elitist mentality in the left where you are not welcome in their world if you are not a Democrat or a liberal. You are not welcome. Stay away. We don't want anything to do with you. You are, you are disgusting. You disgust me. This is our space. This is where the cultured and sophisticated people hang out and live, and people that are good people and blah, 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 blah. But, God forbid I have to see dissenting viewpoints on my X feed. What a whiner, dude. Just like, how whiny can you be? So this is another thing I thought was funny. So this is from the Independent. Independent. It says Independent Premium, so I don't know how to pay for it. I'm not going to give this thing a dime of my money, but what would really happen if we all abandoned Elon Musk's toxic X/Twitter? X has become a cesspit of racism, bullying, and general unpleasantness, writes Alan Russbridger. It is also a place for Musk to push his own provocations, including suggestions that our democracy should be run by high-status males. God forbid. Could the time have come for a mass exodus? And shall we name the day? Yeah, good luck, you moron. Let's not kid ourselves. X was never exactly the Garden of Eden. There were always weeds, wild animals, marshy bits where you could sink in up to your waist. But now that it's somewhere between a swamp and a jungle and a cesspool, it may soon be time to quietly tiptoe away and leave it to fester into toxic irrelevance. Yeah, not gonna happen. I've been here since January of 2009, when Elon Musk was still messing around with an electric sports car called the Tesla Roadster. When he got around to joining Twitter 6 months later, he would, like most of us, have doubtless taken delight in so much that was to be found in this new digital form of ideas and conversation. Gone, for better or worse, were the old gatekeepers of information and connection. Here was somewhere we could gather, talk to each other, as well as amuse, provoke, tease, and entertain. Yeah, that's what Twitter was like before. It was just that. It was just this nice forum of innocent conversation. At its best, it was a brand tub of discovery and education, as well as a kaleidoscope of news. That's what it was. Twitter before was just education and prominent, profound conversation. Conventional hierarchies mattered less. Jeez, oh Pete. Sorry, I'm suffering here tonight. The problem is when I read slow, I trip over my words too much. I'm a historian. I have a PhD, so I had to go to grad school and I had to learn how to read books in a day. So I just read. So it's always sounds like I'm having a stroke. What you said counted as much, if not more, than who you were. You could tune in to be an echo chamber if that's what you wanted. Equally, you could calibrate it to challenge, surprise, and even irritate you. There were bots, trolls, occasional sock puppet, but it felt like a space that was at least semi-tended. There was an attempt at meaningful verification of the most prominent users. There was a trust and safety team looking out for bad, misleading, and harmful information that hurt my little feelings, along with a curation team which sought to amplify the good. The good, dude, do you hear this? This person's talking about leftist horse crap. That's the good. Let me continue. In time, the better users developed a kind of etiquette or best practice. One-way conversations were less rewarding than two-way ones. Less a megaphone, more a discussion. Yeah, sure. If you got something wrong, it was pointed out to you as considered good form to clarify or correct it. If you were on Twitter before Elon Musk bought it, this is the most laughable crap ever. That was how you built trust. They only let the most prominent people pass verification. People like me. Well, we know what happened next. A strange billionaire manchild bought it. Whether by design or accident, he sacked all the gardeners, the groundskeepers, the park managers. He invited back in all the bullies, yobs, liars, and crooks who had been kept out by the previous park managers. That was bad enough. But then strange manchild, because you're a manchild, you're totally not a child by calling him manchild, decided his opinion and everything mattered so much that he flooded everyone's timeline with a stream of his own fact-free ruminations, conspiracy theories, boasts, and insults. And I'm an idiot, and I don't understand how algorithms work. In just the past couple of days, he's promoted a theory that a free-thinking democracy could only exist under the decision of high-status males. Did you know he said that?
He amplified incitement to hate, and outright misinformation. He told advertisers to go F themselves and sued them when they did. A leading European commissioner warned him of the consequences of turning his platform into a sewer, and he was told to go F himself, because he should go F himself. So here we are, wondering why we're still hanging around. Okay, so you get the point. This guy's just being a whiny bitch. That's fair enough, but I suspect that for most of us, there are more pragmatic reasons. It's taken me 15 years to handpick a community of 5,000. Oh, I can't leave, because then all the work I put in on Twitter will just go away. I just want to sit here and cry. Oh, brother. Over at Threads, I'm part of a small village. And at Blue Sky, no more than a hamlet. I have close to a quarter of a million followers, I guess? The equivalent of a big town. Feels like this is what they do. They want to cry that Musk took Twitter over, and then when it's like, okay, well then go create your own. I can't do that. I put in too much work. In case you don't remember, before Elon Musk decided that free speech mattered and that other people deserve to have an opinion, you were not allowed to have dissenting opinions on there. You got attacked incessantly. It was not this place of just neat, nice, there was etiquette and just kind, civil discussion. Are you kidding me? Were you on Twitter before that? You would post anything and you would get attacked in instant. And it was not, I think you're wrong about this. You should fact check it and then come back with, no, it was like, you are the world's biggest piece of crap. You would get like death threats on it. Give me a break. But I liked it better back then. So if you were part of the, I'm a libertarian, so I was part of the ostracized community because I think the Democrats and the left are a joke. And they're destructive. And I could talk about them forever. They would say, well, go and create your own Twitter. Do you remember that? That's what they would say. So people did. And what happened when they went and created their own Twitter? Why don't we look up and see what happened to Parler, which was very popular after the 2020 removal of Trump, 2021 removal of Trump from Twitter. What happened? Oh, yeah, big tech colluded and had it shut down. What about Getter? Oh, that's right. People did go out and make their own version of Twitter. What about Gab? They did it. And even still, Elon Musk saw the writing on the wall and he bought Twitter and turned it into the free speech platform. It's the only real major, one of the most popular apps in the world and platforms in the world that is all around free speech. And of course, this person hates it because it hurts my feelings. They took the gardeners away. They took away the gatekeepers, the moderators. I mean, he spreads misinformation and conspiracy theories. Okay, and like literally go bleep yourself. And he has every right to do that. It's not illegal to spread conspiracy theories. It's not illegal to be wrong about things in your stupid eyes. And guess what? I promise you have been the purveyor of as much misinformation as he has. Just like this. It was not the forum. It was at the university. Okay? It wasn't the school at Athens. It was a hostile, toxic place where if you had a viewpoint that veered any way, shape, or form from the left, you were shadow banned, you were attacked. It was not civil. And I had to go through years of trying to pick fault. Well, welcome to the real world. That's not how this works. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too, dude. You don't get to have everything your way. Welcome to being an adult. If you don't like it, go start your own then. Because that's what the right had to do. And guess what? Their stuff started to compete. And it became a threat. So they got shut down. You don't like it? Then go to Facebook. Why don't you want to go to Facebook? Oh, because Facebook sucks now? You don't like it? Go to Threads. Oh, what? Threads is just Instagram light? Why would you stick around then if it sucks so bad? Why won't you leave and go to something else if it sucks so bad? Oh, because it's still, you still get to do the things you used to do. It's just now you see people on there you don't like. You have to hear things, you have to hear people talk, or see people talking there you don't like. And it hurts my feelings. Makes me uncomfortable. Ugh, people like this are just, they're the problem. Do you remember what the internet was like before we started to have like safe spaces and moderators and everything was about your feelings and being offended? And like, do you remember what it used to be like? Dude, talk about the Wild West. Like, there were people that would post stuff on Facebook that were like, probably get you banned for life, and it would just happen every day. I mean, man, remember what just the internet was like in general back then? And then they turned it into this thing where we have to babysit and we have to, and then people that graduated college needed jobs. People that graduated with tons of student debt that did the adult thing and went to college and got worthless degrees. Well, they needed a job and they got a, you know, they did do one good thing in college. They all got radicalized and indoctrinated. So they need to go, you know, inundate society somehow. I love that, like, Zuckerberg will go up and be like, well, we have independent fact checkers and moderate. Yeah, independent fact checkers. They're really, there's no bias there, is there? But this person is seriously crying. And it's so funny to me because he's like, why don't we all just leave X? Do it. See ya. You'll be back in 5 minutes. You know why? Because we were all back in 5 minutes. Do you know how many people? Getter was super popular at one point. You know how popular Getter is now? Go on there. Look at people that were posting regularly until 2022-ish. The Getter thing died eventually and people just went back to Twitter, even before Musk bought it. You're not going to be able to walk away. You're going to go back because it is where things are happening. And you're just going to have to get over that people are going to be there that you don't like. Don't talk to them. Mute them. You don't have to see Elon Musk's tweets. Mute them. There you go. Problem solved. But Elon Musk has every right to say things you disagree with, or things you think are fake, or things you think are lies. Lying is not illegal. Misinformation is not illegal. Hate speech is not illegal. Whatever you consider to be hate speech. I would never use things like that, but there's no laws against them. So, but really, the thing I care about is this idea that misinformation and conspiracy theories should be policed and banned because I don't like them. Well, how about most of the stuff you all have believed for years has been blatantly misinformation and disinformation? What about that? Why don't you have to be censored? Oh, because it goes towards your bias. It makes you feel good. This is what these people, who raised you? Like, can we please have an answer to who raised these people? What did your parents say to you when you said that's not fair? What would they say? Life isn't fair. Shut up. Or what if you wanted to have your way all the time? Didn't go that way in my house. You know, it wasn't this way where kids just were never told no back then, and it wasn't that long ago. But yet, we continue to have adults that act this way. Like, what happens if you heard something you didn't like as a kid? You threw a fit about it? There's so many of these people around. I really want to know. Why do you think you have the right to only have the single correct viewpoint? Why do you think you have the right to say that what I think is the truth and everything else is wrong? You can purvey this horse crap all day. I don't care. Have this viewpoint. Come out and tell me to my face. I don't care. I think it's stupid. I think you're wrong. But that doesn't mean I think you should be banned and muted and moderators should remove your content. Because I'm not a child. What if we all just decide to get together and leave? That's never going to happen. People like Stephen King, Mark Hamill, and all these whiny liberals will cry about, or Mark Cuban, they'll cry about Elon Musk owning X, but then they'll continue to stay on it. Well, why? Because it still serves the purpose that it did before. Nothing's changed. If it didn't, you wouldn't need to be on there so much. Go start your own. Well, we did. I'm on Blue Sky and I'm on Threads, and it's just not the same. Okay, well then cry me a freaking river. Then stay on X and shut up about it. Because Musk isn't going anywhere. And your leftist political opinions, I know you call him man-child. You have every right to have your leftist political opinions. But you just have to listen to other people's opinions, including Elon Musk's. If you don't like it, then don't be on there. All right, well, I'm going to cut this video here. Please like my channel, like my videos, subscribe to my channel, share it, comment, whatever. I'm taking some video courses right now to kind of give this a better look. Get my audio down pat. I'm working every day to get my stuff better. I'm trying to come up with more of a scripted format, or at least an outline. Hopefully you liked this today, just covering a couple, like 3 big news stories. And I'm gonna do historical content soon. Once I'm done with this video thing, I'm mapping out some cool little like mini documentary type things. So if you like that, like my channel, subscribe to it. Please comment if you want me to do any historical topics. Let me know. And otherwise, I'm just going to keep going forward with this for a while. And God bless, and have a great night and a great Wednesday. And then I'll be back with you tomorrow night. All right, bye.